Okay, this is an update to my list for the top 5 earphones between $100 and $200. This was done March 2021, and I said I would do it every 4 months, 4 times a year. March, April, May, June, July. I'm actually getting it in right at the end. Today is August 1st, so just in time. Before we continue, this is Mele, or we can consider her to be Mele. Found it on the internet, edited it, cropped it into a PNG file. Listen carefully. Somebody is going to win a Mele who watches this video. All you have to do is spot her in the video. She's going to be placed for a 2-second very quick spot somewhere within the frame while I'm talking about something. If you spot her, I want you to listen carefully. I want you to screenshot that moment that you spot her, okay? And then I want you, don't include the timestamp of where you spotted her in the video, because that gives it away to everybody. Make it a little harder for your competition. Screenshot it, and then I want you to go to HiFiGuides.com. HiFiGuides.com, and there's a thread called Bad Guy Good Audio Rankings and stuff, and this is where I usually am most active on the internet. And then right below here, go ahead and post that photo with not including the timestamp and say, I found her, I found Mele. And I'm going to take, it might be one person and they're going to win the Mele. Or it might be 10 people and then I'll do a quick online spin the wheel thing that I do with my Patreons. I'll do that in a quick live stream that I run privately and pick the winner. I don't think a bunch of people are going to spend time looking for a little icon, but there's a channel called Mr. Baller. Mr. Ballin, I think. I watch his stuff. Some of it's good, like the people that go places that they shouldn't, and he does that, and I've never found it because I'm always late, but I thought that's a pretty clever thing. So I'm going to take Mele and I'm going to put her in the video, and it's going to be for a 2-second, and she's going to be small and she's going to be somewhere, and there's lots of colors around her, so she'll be hard to spot, but someone's going to spot her. Screenshot her, don't include the timestamp in the frame, and then post it over on my thread, and you're automatically qualified. And if you're the only one to do it, then you're the winner. Okay, so let's have some fun. Someone's going to win a Mele, and you might get it before everybody else does. I don't know. I'll talk about that later. And let's get into the video. Okay, let's start with Ikko OH10. This is really a Chi-Fi classic. It got beyond cult level and became a classic. A lot of people bought it and liked it. It is pretty much a V-shaped. It's got emphasized bass. It's got emphasized upper mids and treble. It is a good set. It plays back my library well. Its positive point is it's got good resolution. It's got good impact. It plays back everything in the mix well. The problem is that with sets that are tuned like this, you're going to run into issues with fatigue, regardless of whether or not you're treble sensitive. Eventually, too much energy and emphasis on this area is really going to just cause you to not listen for long term. And a lot of people that have become fans of this set, it's kind of one of the dings that they put against it. That and the fact that it seems like it's made out of lead, and if it fell out of ear and landed on anything that was sensitive, it would smash it, like a DAP screen or something. That's a legit concern that I've had when I tip my head down, because it's heavy. It tries to jump out of your ear just by its weight and gravity. So good listen, loved by many, can be fatiguing after a period of time. Build quality is, you could throw it through somebody's window from 30 yards away. It's fine, and the window would break and your OH10s would be fine. They released a follow-up to this set that was a total disaster. I'm concerned, and I hope that they get their stuff together. I think that something like this matches everything in my library, from Tupac Shakur all the way to Tchaikovsky and Vivaldi, everything in between, Bob Marley, AC/DC, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Electric Light Orchestra. Everything in my library plays good with the OH10. The penalty is that it's a 30-minute, 45-minute listen maybe, and enjoyable, but that's about as long as it's going to be. Great set, recommends it, goes in my top 5. Watch out with tipping your ears with over a glass table and stuff like that. And if somebody would try to assault you, could put it in your fist and punch them. It would be the same as holding a roll of quarters. Very good set. Recommended, in my top 5 in this price range. Great short-term listens. That's pretty much what I would say about this. And keep your eyes out for Mele. She might have appeared or not appeared. Go ahead and take this one out. That's the OH10. I'll try to put a picture up and a price when I edit this video. Next would be the Tanchjim Hana V2. I'm not doing these in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just putting them up as I'm thinking about them. This one just came in. This is probably the ideal type of tuning for my library. It follows my sub bass, mid bass, and mid, and then gain, and it's got a little bit of extra energy around 2.5 to 3K, but I'm okay with that because that gives a little bit of more realism to parts of the guitar. It also gives a little bit of energy to vocals. I like the way that it treats my library. It's really following along my curve. It's got energy that pretty much goes all the way up the scale. I'm really discovering that from about 11, 12K, there's minimal, and then from 13, 14, most people can't hear it. And there's not stuff, according to the spectrogram, even in lossless files, FLACs, anything there. Though you might get a sense of space, acoustic illusion, manipulation of the frequency graph. I think the Hana V2 is a very good set. I like it a lot. I'm not a fan of the aesthetics, the gold, the white. It looks like something that would be more appropriate for a female. Not judging or anything. There's not a lot of females in the hobby, and that looks like one that I would give to my fiance because just the way it looks. So, but put it in your ears, and people shouldn't be so close to you that they can judge it, but it's not really my thing. Tuning, it definitely is my thing. I would consider it to be audiophile tuning. If audiophile is defined as high fidelity, and high fidelity is defined as faithful reproduction, I find that stuff tuned like the Hana V2 and the Mele actually do that with my library, with kick drums, with bass guitars, with rhythm guitars, with acoustic guitars, electric guitars, with lots of distortion pedals, male, female vocals, talk singing, going into extreme vocal, upper range, stuff like Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf, part of Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones, where the female voice is almost operatic in its emotion, is something that this actually does treat quite fine, and that's something that I like. So I'm actually a fan of the Tanchjim Hana V2. In its price range, it's getting close to some other stuff that's quite good too, but I like it. I think it plays good with stuff like Led Zeppelin, Jim Croce, Massive Attack. Pretty much everything that exists in my library seems to do well with the Tanchjim Hana. Jimi Hendrix actually does quite well too, so I find that to be a very appealing tuning, and that is the Hana. Okay, next one is going to be the TRI Starsea, not the Starlight. This is a set that is reasonably close to my target. It's lacking a little bit in the upper mids, but this is not that dissimilar to, let's say, Unique Melody MEST Mark II. That's also a set that does not have much upper mids, period. It's kind of similar to this. These are not on the same level technically at all, but sometimes people think they'll be lacking something. I don't really think so. I would consider this set, the Starsea, to be a monitor. The set I just was mentioning, I would consider to be a V to my ears. And I would consider this to be a monitor because it doesn't put anything out in the mix clearly to the ears. It's not pushing the bassist, it's not pushing the drum kit, it's not pushing the vocalist forward, it's not pushing anything forward, which is good and bad because it's not, there's some points where the drum really needs to come out, like the intro, or the vocals are front and center. This is a set that doesn't really sometimes give you that. It doesn't have the note weight, it doesn't have the sense of being there live and present with the music like some sets do, and I actually consider live replays to be the reference point. So I recommend this set. I consider it to be in the top 5 in its price range. Its good point is, unlike the set I just was talking about, the OH10, this would be a set that you would listen to for longer periods of time, as long as you like, really. I'm sensitive to the gain region right here, and then sometimes in this back area. I have never gotten to the point where I thought that anything I've listened to, Ginger Baker's Cymbal Strikes on Blind Faiths Can't Find My Home, or anything, Jimi Hendrix Guitar Solos, I never thought, okay, you know, I'm about done. This is a set that is absolutely designed for long-term listening. So if you're treble sensitive, you do want that kick, but you don't want to be obnoxious, the Starsea is something that would definitely be considered. You should definitely consider that, in my opinion. In its price range, I think its performance is excellent. I'm not aware of any quality control issues. I think I did a video for it, but I might not have. If I haven't, remind me in the comment section, and I'll go ahead and put one up because I do like it. It doesn't jump out at me as being anything awesome, but it also doesn't step wrong in any way. It has sub bass over mid bass. It has proper mids. Everything is present in the upper mid to treble region, if not just slightly subdued, which is perfect for some people. And I recommend it. It's TRI Starsea. That's it for this set. KZAST. Let's go ahead. Look at that. Boom. That is an obnoxious amount of bass right there. That looks not done well. Actually, let's go ahead and throw another set that has been talked about. Ikko GK10. That's got, okay, that's totally not going to match what I'm talking about. I thought maybe that was kind of similar. We'll take that out of there. That is, no. I'll talk about that in another video. The KZAST is an all BA set, and it's a KZ, by the way, and it's not, I don't think I put a KZ in a top 5 set in maybe 2 years. The treble is usually where a KZ gets me, and the KZAST is absolutely not a typical KZ. It is emphasized sub and mid bass over the mids, but it's done with BA, and one of the best benefits of balanced armatures is that they don't have the same difficulty getting back from substantial low frequency hits and then taking care of, because it's the same driver doing everything. Stuff that exists sonically immediately or at the same time, and then creating a veil or a haze over pretty much everything that follows after that. BAs are better at being elevated slightly without sounding like they're toning out, but not impacting this part of the frequency response as bad as an elevated dynamic driver done in this way. I think that the KZ, let me get the other ones out of there. This one and the Hana. It's an odd looking graph, so if we were going to just go by graphs, we might say, yeah, I don't know about that. In replay, mentioning the same songs, Tupac Shakur hits hard, doesn't get in the way, gives me all the micro details. Jimi Hendrix, the distortion pedals, the solos, all the high overtones that are coming in sound good because it's almost a dark set. It's bass dominant, and then the rest of the profile is kind of tilting down towards the right and going off. And I find it to be quite appealing, actually. It's probably my favorite KZ. At one point, the AS10 was, a long time ago, and I started to hear issues with that. I don't really have that. I've come to accept the AST for what it is, and I like it for what it is. It's an all BA set. It's tuned on the bass side, and that's kind of where BAs shine, in my opinion. You can do this with an all BA set. It would be harder to do this with a hybrid set with this much bass, because the dynamic driver would be getting in the way of the BAs taking care of this region. They're still doing their job. They're still doing what they were doing in the track that didn't have so much bass, but you just can't pick it up with this much elevation and bass. The KZ being all BA seems to straddle that line of fun with enough accuracy not to feel like you're losing a bunch of stuff. So congrats to KZ, because you made a list of mine for the first time in quite a long time. And when I first saw this graph, I thought, that's weird as hell. And then I listened to it and just couldn't get over how much I actually found it to be very engaging and enjoyable. Liked it a lot, and recommend it in its price range. And that's the KZ AST.